We often overlook the silent stories hidden in everyday objects, don't we?
You really do.
Today, we're pulling back the curtain on something you've probably seen countless times: vehicle license plates in Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm.
What looked like just a government directive from the Ministry of Transport and Logistics, it's actually turned out to be a pretty compelling story.
Indeed. It seems like a simple administrative change on the surface, but it really touches on layers of national identity, tech advancements, and how Ethiopia connects with the wider world.
Okay, let's unpack this then. For you listening in, our goal today, using these news reports we've got, is to really get a handle on what these license plate changes involve.
And crucially, why they're happening.
Exactly. And here's something to keep in mind right away.
Yeah.
This isn't just about aesthetics, getting a new look. It's deeply tied to international agreements and also fixing some pretty significant existing problems.
Yeah, the sources we looked at really frame this as a systemic overhaul affecting quite a few aspects of vehicle administration.
So let's start with the what. What are these new plates actually going to look like?
Okay.
Well, every single registered vehicle in Ethiopia is set to get S in Gi's script and ETH in Latin letters.
Yeah.
A very clear, consistent national marker.
And what's really interesting there is the move towards that unified national symbol.
Oh.
The reports say those regional and city codes.
The ones we see all the time now.
Right. The two-letter ones on most plates, though some already use East, those are going away.
Okay. So it's one standard across the whole country.
Precisely. A truly national standard for identifying vehicles.
And it's not just the letters. The design includes a map of Ethiopia, too. That feels like a pretty strong visual statement of, national belonging.
It definitely reinforces that unified identity. And then there's the numbering system.
Right, it's changing there.
We're moving to a consistent format.
Yeah.
3 Latin letters followed by 4 numbers.
3 letters, 4 numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Standardization across the board. That's a big change from the varied formats we've seen. It also it gives a much larger pool of possible combinations.
Good point. Future-proofing it, maybe?
Potentially, yeah. Addresses limits of the old system and allows for growth.
But here's where it gets, I think, really interesting. It's more than just the look and the number sequence.
Oh,
These new plates will have color coding and other identifiers, things that tell you about the vehicle's ownership, what kind of service it's used for,
okay.
and even its energy source.
That points towards much more sophisticated data management, doesn't it? And maybe more targeted policies later on.
Yeah, and the reports mention secret signs, too, for control and registration.
Secret signs. What do we think that means? Speculation, obviously, but...
Well, based on the reports emphasizing security, maybe some kind of embedded tech or specific design features to stop counterfeiting.
That seems plausible. Anti-counterfeiting and better security, definitely.
And we shouldn't skip over the sustainability angle. Electric vehicles, renewable energy ones, they get a special green transport mark.
Ah, that's quite prominent then. A clear visual cue.
It feels like a very visible nod to environmental concerns, right?
It certainly suggests lining up with global green trends, and maybe Ethiopia's own climate goals, too.
Plus, there's an option for special personalized plates if people want them.
Right, so a bit of individuality is still possible within the new standardized system.
Okay, so that's the what pretty clearly laid out. Now, the big question, the why. What's actually driving this whole massive change?
Well, according to the Ministry of Transport and Logistics, a key reason is aligning with international agreements Ethiopia has signed up to.
International agreements, like for what exactly?
Often these relate to standardizing vehicle identification for cross-border travel, data sharing, things that become more important as economies get more connected globally.
Okay, that makes sense. Needing things to work smoothly across borders.
That's a major factor, yes, for interoperability. But the sources also spend a lot of time on the domestic problems, the issues with the old system.
Right. You mentioned challenges before. They talked about problems with actually making and distributing the old plates.
Exactly. Production, distribution, even disposal of the old ones was apparently an issue.
Disposal? No, hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, and operational inefficiencies, resource wastage. It sounds like the old system was just becoming really difficult to manage effectively.
And maybe less secure.
That seems to be a critical point. The reports state the old system for both daily and permanent plates was vulnerable.
Vulnerable to what?
forgery, corruption,
Mm.
even being used in various crimes. So this new directive is explicitly aimed at tackling those risks.
Ah, okay. So enhancing security is a major goal here.
Definitely. And that mention of a system-supported operation points towards using technology more, creating a more robust and secure infrastructure.
So bringing it all together, the main goal is this uniform national license plate service. Same type, same size, everywhere, driven by these international standards.
And also by the need to fix those internal problems.
Right, and it's not just the physical plate. It's about modernizing the whole background system, the
Yeah.
vehicle information management, using tech for production, distribution, getting rid of old plates. The works.
Precisely. It's a full modernization effort aiming for better security, efficiency, and international compatibility.
Okay, so how's this actually going to happen, and what's the timeline? Because this new system, it applies to everyone, right? Brand new cars and ones already on the road.
That's correct. It applies universally, which, as you said, is a huge logistical challenge.
So if you already have a car,
Owners with vehicles registered before this directive kicks in will need to return their old plates.
return them where? To the place they registered the car.
To the designated registering body, yes. That's what the reports indicate.
And then they get the new ones.
They'll receive the new standardized plates then.
But crucially, and this is important for listeners, you don't just rush out and do it now, right?
No, absolutely not. The exchange will happen based on a specific schedule.
A schedule set by the Ministry of Transport and Logistics.
Correct. So people really need to keep an eye out for official announcements on when their turn is.
That makes sense. A phased rollout is pretty much essential to avoid chaos.
Absolutely. Manage the volume, make it as smooth as possible for everyone.
You know, this whole thing makes you think about the history. License plates in Ethiopia. They've been around a while.
They have, since the very first car arrived, apparently, back in Emperor Menelik II's time.
Wow. That's quite a long lineage.
And it's a history that kind of mirrors the country's own journey. The sources mention at least 3 big changes before this one.
Oh, really? Like when?
Well, there was a change going from Emperor Haile Selassie's era into the time of the military government, the Derg,
Okay.
and then another shift from the Derg era to the EPRDF period.
Right, the Ethiopian People's Revolutionary Democratic Front. And their system is the one most people still have, isn't it?
Generally, yes. The one with those regional and city identifiers, the 2-letter codes showing where the car was registered.
Which is different from the A symbol that some vehicles, maybe government or diplomatic runs, already have.
Exactly. And that A is now becoming the standard for everyone.
So moving away from those regional codes to the universal OOD, that really emphasizes this shift towards national unity, maybe, and a central database.
That seems like a very reasonable interpretation, yes. Each historical change probably had its own reasons.
Like reflecting the political structure of the time.
Precisely. The Derg change likely reflected their ideology, breaking from the past. The EPRDF system with regional codes mirrored the federal structure then. This current change is just the latest chapter.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. We're seeing a major shift to a single national license plate design. Key features are the E and ETH, plus the map of Ethiopia.
And goodbye to the regional codes for most vehicles.
And hello to a new 3-letter, 4-number system. And the big Ys are 1, fitting in with international agreements.
And 2, tackling those long-standing domestic issues, security flaws, operational problems, inefficiency.
Right. So the main takeaway here isn't just, oh, new plates. It's much bigger.
Definitely. It signals this broader push for national standardization, beefing up security and efficiency in how vehicles are tracked and managed.
And making sure Ethiopia's systems align with international norms.
Exactly. It goes way beyond just a cosmetic change.
Absolutely. It really makes you think, doesn't it? How something like a license plate, something we barely notice, can actually reflect these big national priorities and how a country sees its place in the world.
It's a fascinating intersection.
So here's a final thought maybe for you, our listener, to chew on. Think about what other, maybe seemingly mundane systems in our daily lives might be undergoing similar changes right now. Changes driven by similar needs, standardization, efficiency, security, or international integration. Where else might these subtle but significant shifts be happening around us?
That's a great question to ponder. It's often in the details.